Today we're talking about a burger. But not just any burger. This is the story of a $50 million burger and how a food craze in South Korea turned into a massive corporate gold rush. And believe it or not, it all starts with something really simple. A line. Okay, so picture this. It's June of 2023. You're in Gangnam, the glitziest, trendiest district in Seoul, and there is this huge line stretching down the block. I'm talking ropes, staff with iPads, the whole deal. The vibe is electric. You'd think it's for the new iPhone or maybe some super exclusive sneaker drop. But nope, it's not tech, it's not fashion. You get closer and you realize this entire scene, all this hype, is for a burger joint. Five Guys to be exact. Yeah, the American fast food place. So you have to ask, what is going on here? Why are people losing their minds over a burger and fries? And here's the thing. This whole Five Guys situation, it wasn't a fluke. It's not a one-off thing. It's actually part of a much bigger and way more calculated story. I mean, think about it. We saw this exact same kind of frenzy back in 2016 when Shake Shack first landed, and then again with Gordon Ramsay Burger. And get this, even for Tim Hortons, the Canadian coffee shop. Every single time the launch creates this viral open run, right? People lining up for hours, all over social media. This isn't a random trend, folks. It's a playbook. Because this whole thing goes way deeper than just a love for burgers. What we're really digging into here is the hidden corporate strategy driving it all. It's a story about some brilliant, maybe even cynical marketing, huge corporations, and a whole lot of money waiting to be made. All right, so to really get why this is happening now, we've got to rewind a bit. The burger's history in Korea is actually the key to understanding how it became this luxury item today. So back in post-war Korea, the American hamburger was, well, a total culture shock. I mean, traditional Korean meals are all about sitting down together, sharing dishes, it's communal, it's slow. And then along comes the burger. It's the complete opposite. It's fast, it's individual, you can eat it with your hands on the go. It wasn't just food, it was this little handheld symbol of Western modernity. And a burger's reputation in Korea has been on a total roller coaster. It starts out in the 50s as this rare, almost exotic thing found on U.S. military bases. Then, in '79, Loteria comes along and makes it mainstream. But they Koreanize it with sweet flavors, like the bulgogi burger. Fast forward to the '88 Olympics, McDonald's arrives, and suddenly it's a luxury status symbol. But then, the 1997 financial crisis hits, and just like that, the burger becomes cheap, everyday fast food. Poof! All that premium status, gone. So that's the big question, right? If burgers became so cheap and ordinary, how on earth did we get back to a place where people are lining up for hours and paying premium prices? Well, the simple answer is that luxury status didn't just reappear. It had to be engineered. Okay, so in the early 2010s, you have these savvy Korean-American entrepreneurs who spot an opening. They look at the market, see all these sweet Korean-style fast food burgers, and they go in the opposite direction. They introduce the Suje burger, which basically means handmade or gourmet. We're talking high-quality ground beef, savory, authentic American flavors. They single-handedly turn the burger from a cheap snack back into a premium experience. And that is when the big players took notice, the chaebols. If you're not familiar, these are the gigantic family-run conglomerates. Think Samsung, Hyundai, that pretty much run the Korean economy. They saw these little gourmet shops succeeding. And, the light bulb went off. They realized this wasn't just a niche trend. It was a massive opportunity waiting to be scaled up. And they came up with a killer playbook. It's basically a 4-step plan. Step 1, import a really hot American brand that already has some buzz. Step 2, don't open everywhere. Launch one massive flagship store right in the middle of Gangnam, the capital of cool. Step 3, that single location creates scarcity, which then engineers those viral open-run lines that basically act as free marketing. And finally, step 4, price it not as fast food, but as a premium, fine, casual experience. SBC Group nailed this with Shake Shack. I mean, it worked like a charm. But here's the twist. This whole strategy, manufacturing hype, charging crazy prices, it has an end game. And you might be surprised to hear, it's not really about selling burgers at all. It's about finance. I mean, just look at Gordon Ramsay Burger. They took this premium idea and pushed it to its absolute limit. They launched a so-called limited edition burger, the 1966 burger, for 140,000 won. That is over $100 US for one burger. It's It's just wild. And this wasn't just happening with burgers. Take Tim Hortons. In Canada, it's a super normal working class coffee shop. But in Seoul, they tried to rebrand it as this premium cafe experience. And they were charging almost double for a basic cup of coffee. This time, though, people saw right through it. The backlash was pretty swift. And that hype just fizzled out. Eventually, people started to do the math. With the cost of living going up, paying almost $20 for a burger and fries just started to feel kind of ridiculous. The Instagram post just wasn't worth the price tag anymore. And so, that viral magic began to fade. The lines, they just disappeared. So if the hype is designed to be short-lived, what's the real end goal here? Well, the answer is private equity. And the source material we're looking at uses the perfect analogy for this. It's like house flipping, but instead of a house, you're flipping a corporation. You buy it, make it look really profitable really fast, and then you sell it for a huge profit. And that is exactly what went down with Five Guys. The Hanwha Group, which, by the way, is a defense company, not a food company, they treated Five Guys like a hot tech startup. They poured in about $15 million, ran the hype playbook to perfection, and then, in less than 3 years, they flipped it. They sold the whole operation to a private equity firm for somewhere around $50 million. They literally tripled their money. So when you boil it all down for these massive corporations, this was never about building a restaurant legacy. It's basically a pump and dump. These burger joints aren't restaurants. They're financial assets. You build them with hype, you juice them with capital, and you structure the whole thing for a quick and profitable exit. So who pays the price for this corporate gold rush? Well, there are really two groups caught in the crossfire. First, you've got the independent restaurant owners, the actual innovators who started the gourmet burger trend in the first place. They just can't compete with the chabol's deep pockets and get squeezed out. And the second group, the average consumer. What's happening is that the entire food market is getting polarized. For a lot of people, the choice is becoming option A, an ultra-cheap meal from a convenience store, which, surprise, are often also owned by the chabols, or option B, one of these super overpriced foreign franchise brands. That whole middle ground, the good, reasonably priced neighborhood spot, it's getting crushed. And that really leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. When these corporate games hollow out the entire middle of the market, what does that actually do to a country's food culture? I mean, what happens when the middle just disappears?